Two black kids vanish on their way home, and their father gets a chilling call. "We want the money you promised." But the twist: the kidnappers don't know the father never made any deal. And when he tries to pay the ransom, he discovers something even worse. The kidnappers aren't after the kids, they're after a secret he's been hiding for years. The sun had barely dipped behind the row of aging apartment blocks when the neighborhood kids began drifting home. The narrow streets of River Park were loud as always, vendors shouting prices, radios humming old R&B tracks, cars honking impatiently. But even in the noise, even in the usual chaos, something felt different that evening. Something off. 8-year-old Ari and her 10-year-old brother Malik walked hand in hand as they always did. Ari clutched her pink backpack, decorated with stickers of stars and bright yellow suns. Malik had his old basketball tucked under his arm. They were quiet today, not fighting for once, not running ahead like they usually did. Ari had a drawing she wanted to show their dad, and Malik wanted to ask him about joining the school's basketball team. Normally, their father, Darius King, met them halfway, but today he couldn't. He was late, very late. Inside their small apartment, Darius paced the living room, phone in hand, sweat beading on his forehead. He had spent the whole morning arguing with someone on the phone, whispering, shouting, whispering again. He looked exhausted, eyes red, jaw clenched, hands trembling every time his phone buzzed with a notification. Something had him on edge, something heavy and dangerous. But the kids didn't know that. At 6:32 p.m., the hallway outside their building was unusually empty. No neighbors gossiping, no kids playing tag, just silence. Ari pulled Malik's sleeve. "Why's it so quiet?" Malik shrugged. "Maybe it's movie night." They giggled, but the laughter disappeared when a black van slowed beside them. The tinted window rolled down only a few inches. "Hey, you kids need a ride. It's getting dark," a man's voice called. Malik pulled Ari closer. "We're good." The van didn't move. The engine kept humming. Ari squeezed her brother's hand. "Let's go inside." They began walking faster, steps quick, breath sharper. The van followed. For a moment, Malik considered running, but they were right in front of the building, almost safe. Almost. Then someone grabbed Malik from behind. Ari screamed. A cloth covered her face. Darkness swallowed their voices. And the van drove off without anyone noticing. When Darius's phone rang, he expected it to be his kids. Instead, a distorted voice spoke. "We have them." His heart slammed into his ribs. "What, who? Who are you talking about?" "You already know, the kids, your kids." Silence. No breathing, no movement, nothing. Darius felt the floor tilt under his feet. You have the wrong." "Save it," the voice cut him off sharply. "You know why we took them, and you know what we want." Darius swallowed hard. I don't owe you anything." The voice laughed, cold, mocking. "Don't play games, we want the money you promised." Darius froze, blood drained from his face. "We warned you not to run. We warned you not to hide. You think we wouldn't go after your family." Darius's grip tightened around the phone. "Listen, I don't have your money." "Oh, you do, or you will, 24 hours, or the kids disappear forever." Click. The line went dead. Darius dropped to his knees. Then he screamed into the empty apartment. The police arrived within minutes after Darius finally called, his voice trembling, his words stumbling over themselves. 2 officers stood in the living room, scribbling notes, glancing at each other, asking Darius the same question over and over. "Do you know who these men are?" Darius shook his head every time, but his eyes told a different story. Fear, guilt, something deeper. A female officer, Detective Renee Carter, watched him carefully from the corner of the room. She had sharp eyes, the calm type that didn't miss a single detail. She wasn't buying his act. "Mr. King," she said softly, "kidnappers don't usually say what they said to you unless there's a history. Are you sure you're not leaving something out? Darius ran his hands through his hair, packing. I swear I don't know them. Then why did they say you owed them money? I don't know, his voice cracked. I didn't make any deal. Detective Carter leaned forward. Are you involved in anything that could put your children at risk? No, he shouted. Then he whispered, much quieter. At least not anymore. Renee raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? Darius looked away, his jaw locked shut. His silence said enough. The detective scribbled something on her notepad. Within an hour, the neighborhood was swarming with officers, canvassing streets, knocking on doors, questioning neighbors. Most didn't see anything. A few heard a van. No plate numbers, no faces, no direction. The kids had vanished into thin air. Inside the dim warehouse where Ari and Malik were taken, the air smelled of oil and cold metal. Ari sat on a dusty chair, trembling, tears streaking down her cheeks. Malik tried to stay brave, eyes darting around, searching for a way out. The two men guarding them wore masks. They didn't speak much. They didn't yell, they didn't hit, they just watched. One of them, tall with tattooed hands, whispered to the other, "They're just kids. We shouldn't." "We don't have a choice," the second man growled. "Their father put us in this mess." Ari sniffed. Malik straightened up. "Our dad never hurt anyone." Neither kid noticed the way the men exchanged a look. A long, heavy, guilty look. Back at the apartment, Darius sat shaking on the couch as Detective Carter confronted him. "If you want to save your children, you need to talk to me," she said firmly. "Right now, you're our only lead." Darius covered his face with his hands. I can't." "Why?" "Because if I tell you, they'll kill all of us." Detective Carter stepped closer. "Darius, listen to me. We need the truth. Who are these men? Why do they think you owe them money?" Tears filled his eyes, fear mixing with shame. "I made a mistake years ago," he whispered. "A big one. I thought it was buried. I thought it was over." "What mistake?" He hesitated. Then his phone vibrated again. Unknown number. Darius's breath stopped. He slowly answered. The distorted voice returned, colder than before. "You have 24 hours left, and Darius, don't involve the police. We're watching." The line went dead. Detective Carter stared at him. "You lied," she said quietly. "This isn't random. Someone is coming after you." Darius didn't deny it. He couldn't. His past had finally come back. And now, his children were paying the price. Detective Renee Carter stood in the center of the living room, arms crossed, watching Darius as he stared at the blank TV screen like it held all the answers. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. His breath wouldn't stay steady. Every few seconds he flinched at the smallest noise. "Darius," she said firmly, "if you keep holding back, you're going to lose those kids." He didn't turn, didn't move, just whispered. "You don't understand what these people can do." "Oh, I understand plenty." The detective stepped closer. Her tone softened. "What I don't understand is why you think you can handle this alone." Finally he looked up at her, eyes tired, defeated, terrified. "I'm not trying to handle this alone," he said. "I'm trying not to get my kids killed." "You already involved the police," she reminded him. "You can't go back now." He rubbed his face, the weight of his past pressing down on him. "I never thought they'd come for my kids. I thought the debt was gone, I thought." "Debt," Renee repeated sharply. "So you do know them." Darius froze. Regret washed across his face. "Darius," she said, voice low, "who are these people?" For a long moment he said nothing. Then a loud knock rattled the front door. Both froze. Renee instinctively reached for her gun. "Stay behind me." "No, no, you don't understand," Darius whispered urgently. But Renee was already moving. She opened the door. A neighbor stood outside, Mrs. Turner from 10B, shaking, eyes wide. Detective Carter, I saw something. Renee lowered her weapon slightly. What did you see? Mrs. Turner wrung her hands together. That van you were asking about, I saw it last night. Same color, same windows, parked by the old loading docks on 3rd Street. 2 men inside looked nervous, like they were waiting for something. Darius's entire body tensed. Renee nodded quickly. Thank you. Did you see a plate? Just part of it, 7DX. Renee wrote it down. Anything else? Mrs. Turner bit her lip. There was a girl's backpack on the ground, pink, stars on it. Darius felt his chest cave in. Ari's backpack. He grabbed the back of the couch to keep from collapsing. Renee turned back to him. We need to move now. No, he said sharply. No, she repeated, stunned. You don't understand, Darius said, backing away from her. If we go in loud, if these people see the police, my kids won't survive this. Renee stepped forward, her voice turned steel. And if we wait, they won't survive that either. Darius shook his head violently. No, please, I know them, I know how they think. They don't make threats, they keep promises. If they say 24 hours, then that's all I have. And you think going alone is safer? Renee snapped. It's the only chance, he insisted. They stared at each other, 2 desperate people, 2 different strategies, 1 ticking clock between them. Renee exhaled slowly. Darius, what did you do? Who are they? Before he could answer, her radio crackled. Detective Carter, this is dispatch. We've got a hit on that partial plate. Industrial District, Old Warehouse 11, want us to roll units. Renee looked at Darius. He whispered, no police. She grabbed the radio. Negative, dispatch, hold all units. I'm heading to the location to assess. Copy that. She clipped the radio back. Darius stared at her. Why'd you do that? Because, she said quietly, if I don't go with you, you'll go alone, and I'm not letting that happen. He didn't thank her. But he didn't argue either. At the warehouse, kids, POV. Inside Warehouse 11, Malik counted the seconds on his fingers. He had lost track somewhere around 8,000. Ari curled beside him, head resting on his arm, still quietly crying. The tall man with tattooed hands paced back and forth near the exit. He kept checking his phone, over and over. He's not gonna pay, the tall man muttered. He's stalling. The second man, a broader, angrier one, shoved him lightly. He'll pay, he has to. Nobody runs from us. The kids didn't do anything, the tall one said, frustrated. We shouldn't be doing this. Shut up, the other snapped. Orders are orders. Malik swallowed. Why are you doing this? Our dad didn't hurt anybody. The angry one turned sharply. You don't know anything about your father. Ari whimpered. The tall man looked away, guilt tightening his jaw. The angry man stomped toward the kids. Malik instinctively shielded Ari. Sit still, the man growled, and don't talk. Ari whispered, Malik, are we gonna go home? He squeezed her hand. He wanted to say yes. He stayed silent instead. Back with Ariane and Darius. The city faded behind them as Renee drove toward the industrial district, rows of abandoned factories, cracked brick walls, rusted gates. The place had a dead silence that made every sound echo too loudly. What did you do, Darius? Renee asked again. This time he answered. I used to run money for people, he said quietly. Dangerous people. I was young, stupid. I thought it was quick cash, but it was never enough. They always wanted more. When I tried to leave, they threatened me. Did you owe them? No, they claimed I did. He clenched his fists. They set me up, blamed me for money that never went missing. Renee nodded slowly. So they think you owe them a debt that isn't real. And now they're collecting it, he said, voice breaking, through my kids. As they turned the corner, the warehouse came into view, huge, dark, looming like a giant shadow. Renee parked far enough to stay hidden. "We go slow," she whispered. "Silent, careful, no sudden moves." But before they could step out of the car, a masked figure stepped out from behind a stack of crates. Gun raised, pointed straight at them. Darius froze. Renee reached for her weapon. "Don't," the man barked. "Get out, hands where I can see them." Darius's heart pounded so loudly, he could barely hear Renee whisper. "Stay calm." The man motioned with the barrel of the gun. "You, King, they're expecting you." Renee stepped forward, "And me?" He glared. "You're a problem." He cocked the gun. Darius lifted his hands higher, voice trembling. "Please don't hurt her." "Oh, I'm not hurting her," the man said darkly. "She's coming with you." The masked man forced Darius and Detective Renee Carter toward the warehouse, gun pressed firmly into Darius's back. The gravel crunched beneath their feet, each step louder than the last. Renee kept her hands raised, glancing around, calculating exits, angles, shadows, anything that gave her a tactical edge. But tonight the danger was too close, too unpredictable. The huge metal door slid open with a harsh screech. Inside, Malik and Ari sat tied to chairs under a single hanging light. Ari's eyes widened with a gasp when she saw her father. "Daddy!" Malik shouted. "Dad, don't come, it's a trap." Darius's heart split apart at the sound of their voices. He tried to rush forward, but the masked man jammed the gun into his ribs. "Move again," he warned, "and they'll watch you bleed." Renee subtly shifted her weight, trying to place herself between the gunman and the kids, but another figure slid out of the shadows, bigger, meaner, holding a crowbar casually at his side. "Don't even think about it," he growled at her. The first masked man shoved Darius forward. "You're late, King." From the back of the warehouse, a third figure emerged, calm, unhurried. He wore no mask. His suit was clean, expensive, out of place in this dusty room. His presence sucked the air right out of the building. Darius's face went pale. Renee instantly knew this was the man in charge. He smiled, a cold, knowing curve of the mouth. "Well, well," he said, voice smooth as poison. "Darius King finally shows his face. Took you long enough." Darius's voice trembled. "Let them go, Marcus, please." Marcus stepped closer, stopping only inches away. "You owe me money." "That debt was fake," Darius snapped. "You know I didn't steal anything. You framed me." Marcus laughed softly. "Maybe, maybe not, but debts are debts." Renee stepped forward slowly, carefully. "This is kidnapping. You're digging yourself deeper." Marcus tilted his head. "And you must be the cop he was stupid enough to bring. Unfortunate." He nodded to the big man. Renee was grabbed instantly, wrists twisted behind her, her weapon ripped away. Darius shouted, "Leave her alone. This is between me and you." "Oh no," Marcus said gently. "This is about your choices, the choices that cost me money and now cost your family." Malik yelled. "He didn't do anything." Marcus turned his eyes to Malik. "Smart boy, very smart. But sadly, kids often pay for their parents' mistakes." Ari burst into tears. Darius fell to his knees. "Please, I'll do anything, just don't hurt them." Marcus crouched down. "Anything." "Yes," Darius whispered, "anything." Marcus smiled again, wider, crueler. "Then tell her," he pointed at Detective Carter. "Tell her what you did. Tell her why your kids are sitting here. Tell her the truth about the money you owe." Renee stared at Darius. What is he talking about? Darius's mouth opened. But Marcus cut in. "You see, Detective, Darius didn't just run money. He stole it from me, from my people. He hid it, used it, and then pretended he was innocent." "That's a lie," Darius shouted. Marcus shrugged. "Is it, or are you lying to your children right now?" Renee's eyes narrowed. "So this is revenge." "Revenge?" Marcus chuckled. "No, this is business. All he has to do is repay what he took." Darius whispered, I didn't take anything. Then where is the money? Marcus asked calmly. It didn't vanish. His voice echoed. Renee looked sharply at Darius. Darius, did you hide it? He didn't answer. Marcus smiled, because the silence said everything. The twist starts to unfold. Marcus stood packing slowly. You know what's funny, he said lightly. Your dad didn't tell you kids the truth, didn't tell this detective the truth. Heck, he didn't even tell himself the truth. Malik glared. Stop lying about our dad. Marcus smirked. Did he tell you about the deal he made 12 years ago? Darius's head snapped up. Don't. But Marcus continued. The deal where he promised to deliver something valuable in exchange for protection, money, power. Renee frowned. Deliver what? Marcus pointed at Malik and Ari. Them. The entire room froze. Darius gasped. No, that's not true. Ari's breath hitched. Malik's eyes darted around, confused, terrified. Marcus stepped closer to Renee, lowering his voice. 12 years ago, Darius came to us broke, desperate, begging for help. So we gave it, money, shelter, a job, and we asked only one thing. He tapped his chin dramatically. That when the time came, he'd return what belonged to us. Renee's jaw clenched. You're suggesting. Marcus finished calmly. These kids aren't just kidnapped, they're collateral payment. Ari's scream cut the air. Malik tried to break free. Renee lunged forward but was yanked back. Darius shook violently. He's lying, Marcus is twisting everything. Marcus laughed. Am I? He reached into his coat and pulled out a signed IOU, old, yellowed, with Darius King's signature on the bottom. Darius's blood turned to ice. I never agreed to give you my children, he cried. But you signed a deal, Marcus said smoothly. A deal your kids are now paying for. Renee stared at the paper, then at Darius. You said the debt was fake. It was supposed to be, Darius whispered. I thought they'd never come back for it. Marcus spread his arms, and yet here we are. The big man grabbed Malik's chair. Ari screamed louder. Marcus stepped aside. Time up, King, he said coldly. You either repay the debt or you lose everything you ever cared about. Darius trembled, eyes darting between his children, Renee and Marcus. Renee leaned slightly toward him, voice barely audible. Darius, does the money exist? His silence answered everything. Marcus smiled triumphantly. Thought so. The warehouse air thickened, like everyone was inhaling the same fear. Marcus stepped closer to Darius, the IOU paper dangling between two fingers. Well, he asked softly, where's the money? Darius stared at the ground. His lips were trembling, like every word was fighting its way out of his chest. Renee, still held by the big man, locked eyes with Darius. Tell the truth, she whispered, right now. Darius shut his eyes. And finally said it. I hid it. Malik choked on his breath. Ari's sobs grew louder. Even Marcus paused, savoring the confession. How much? He asked. All of it, Darius whispered. Every dollar. I never spent a cent. I buried it so deep you'd never find it. Marcus's eyes gleamed, and you thought I wouldn't notice. Darius looked up, fear fading, replaced by a spark of something sharper. Actually, I was counting on it. Marcus's smirk vanished. Renee straightened slightly. That tone was not a broken man's tone. Marcus hissed, where is it? You want the money, Darius said, voice shaking but determined. Fine, I'll give it to you. Ari sniffled. Daddy, don't leave us. Darius shook his head. I'm not leaving. None of us are leaving. Marcus scoffed. Bold words from a man with nothing to bargain. Oh, I have something, Darius whispered. He lifted his shirt slightly. Not to show a weapon, but a blinking red light. A tracker. Renee's eyes widened. Marcus's face went white. What did you? I told the police not to come, Darius said, but I never said I wouldn't call them. Marcus lunged, grabbing his collar. You idiot. Darius didn't flinch. They're already outside, he said, and they know exactly where you're standing. A thundering sound echoed outside, doors slamming, boots marching, radios crackling. Marcus spun toward his men. Move, get the kids now. That split second of chaos was all Renee needed. She slammed her elbow into the big man's ribs. He grunted, but didn't fall. Renee twisted, grabbed his wrist, and forced his arm upward until his fingers loosened on the crowbar. Darius threw himself between Ari and the angry guy rushing forward. Touch her, he growled, and I swear. The man shoved him aside. That shove ignited something feral in Darius. He grabbed a rusted toolbox from the floor and swung it hard. It collided with the man's shoulder, metal cracking bone. The man yelled and stumbled back. Malik screamed, Dad. Renee kicked the big man off her, dove for her gun on the floor, and rolled into a crouch. Marcus shouted, Stop, you shoot and the kids die. Renee aimed dead center at him anyway. You touch them, she said coldly, and you go down first. Sirens roared outside. Red and blue lights flashed through the warehouse cracks. Marcus snarled at his men, Plan B, take the kids out the back. The tall, tattooed man hesitated, eyes flicking to the crying kids, then to Darius. In that moment, guilt made its choice. I'm not hurting them, he said quietly. Marcus turned on him. What did you say? They're just kids, man, he repeated. This wasn't part of the deal. Marcus pulled a gun on him. Then you die first. Before he could shoot. Bang! A single shot echoed. Marcus's gun flew from his hand. Renee didn't miss. Drop it, she ordered. Chaos erupted. The big man lunged. Renee fired again, hitting him in the leg. He collapsed, roaring in pain. The angry man grabbed Ari. And Darius attacked with everything he had. He slammed into the man, fists flying, adrenaline turning fear into pure rage. The man tried to fight back, but Darius hit harder, faster, fueled by every regret he carried. He knocked the man out cold. Renee rushed to Ari, cutting her ties. Ari sobbed into her shoulder. Malik was freed next. Marcus, clutching his hand, scrambled toward the back exit. Darius saw him. And ran. Renee shouted, Darius, wait. But he didn't hear. He couldn't. Marcus had threatened his family. Destroyed their lives. Nearly cost him everything. He chased Marcus down the hallway, footsteps pounding the concrete. Marcus reached the door. Darius tackled him from behind. Both men crashed to the floor. Marcus clawed at the ground. You think you won. You don't understand. Your kids were never yours to save. Darius slammed him against the wall, eyes blazing. They're the only thing I ever did right. Outside, police stormed the building. Inside, Darius pinned Marcus down as officers swarmed in. Renee arrived seconds later, gun still drawn. Marcus, hail, she said sharply. You're under arrest. Marcus glared at Darius. This isn't over. Darius wiped blood from his mouth. It is for you. Officers hauled Marcus away, screaming threats. Ari ran into her father's arms. Malik wrapped his arms around both of them, face buried in Darius's chest. Renee watched them, relief washing over her. You okay? She asked. Darius nodded, tears finally breaking free. I almost lost them. His voice broke. I thought my past would take them away. Renee shook her head softly. Not tonight. Lights flashed, officers moved, paramedics rushed in. But for a moment, the world shrank to just the three of them. safe alive together. But the story wasn't over yet, because the red light on Darius's tracker was still blinking, and someone who wasn't police, was calling. The warehouse was a battlefield of flashing lights, boot steps, radios, and sirens. Officers pulled Marcus's men out one by one, cuffing them with force. Paramedics checked on the kids while Renee kept her eyes everywhere at once. But Darius wasn't watching any of that. He was staring at the small blinking red light on his shirt, the tracker. It wasn't supposed to still be blinking. He swallowed hard. Renee. She turned. What's wrong? Before he could answer, his phone, still in his pocket, began to vibrate. Unknown number. Same as before. Darius's stomach dropped. Renee frowned. Don't answer that. But the phone kept ringing. And ringing. And ringing. Malik grabbed his father's sleeve. Dad, who is it? Darius looked at his kids, terrified all over again. He answered. He didn't speak. He just listened. A slow, calm voice filled the speaker. Congratulations, Mr. King. You survived Phase 1. Darius nearly dropped the phone. Renee stepped closer, gun still in hand, put it on speaker. He did. The voice continued. Marcus was sloppy, emotional, not like us, but I have to admit we were curious how far a desperate father would go for his children. A soft chuckle. And you did not disappoint. Renee mouthed silently, us. The voice went on. You really thought Marcus was the boss? No, he was just a debt collector, a loud one, a liability. We let him believe he was in charge. Darius felt ice crawl up his spine. His voice cracked. Who are you? Oh, Darius, the voice said warmly. We've been watching you for a long time. Renee snapped at officers. Trace that call now. The voice continued, unbothered. Tonight was a test, to see if you still had the instincts you used to have before you pretended to be a better man. Ari hugged Darius's leg. Malik's eyes widened with dread. Darius whispered, What do you want? Simple, the voice replied. The money you hid is only half of what you owe. Renee's eyes narrowed. He doesn't owe you anything. Marcus is going to prison. It's over. A calm laugh echoed through the phone. Oh, Detective Carter, Marcus worked for us, not the other way around. A beat of silence. Do you really think we'd let someone like him run this operation? Darius felt his heart drop. Renee's hand tightened around her weapon, even though the threat was invisible. The voice softened. We didn't take your children to punish you, Darius. We took them to wake you. The man you used to be was useful. The man you became is weak. Darius's breath hitched. Stay away from my family. Oh, we plan to. Another pause. We're not coming after them. Renee whispered sharply, Hang up, Darius, hang up. But the voice spoke faster, sharper. We're coming after you. Silence fell heavy. Even the officers nearby stopped moving. Then the voice delivered the final twist. Remember the money you buried in 2014. A soft exhale. We found it. Darius staggered backward. No, you couldn't have. Oh, we did, all of it, every dollar, and we left a gift for you in its place. You'll find it soon. Renee shouted at her radio, Do we have the trace yet? A frantic officer called back. It's bouncing everywhere, we can't pin it. The voice chuckled again. Don't bother tracing us, we're not calling from a phone. Darius blinked. What? We're calling from your tracker. His blood froze. He looked down at the blinking light. We embedded a transmitter in the device before Marcus delivered it to you, the voice explained casually. You've been broadcasting your location for days. Renee reached for the tracker. Don't touch. Before she finished. Click. The tracker's light turned blue. The voice whispered, "We'll be in touch, Mr. King. Phase 2 begins soon." The call ended. The tracker beeped twice, then went silent. Darius collapsed onto the floor, shaking violently, his hands gripping his head. The room spun. His children screamed his name, clinging to him. Officers scrambled, shouting into radios. Renee ripped the tracker off his shirt, tossed it away, and crushed it under her boot. She crouched in front of Darius, gripping his shoulders. "Darius, look at me." His eyes were wide, unfocused. "They found the money. They were watching me this whole time." "Look at me," Renee repeated. "We're going to protect your kids." Darius whispered, "What about me?" Renee paused. For the first time tonight, she had no answer. Final ending twist. Hours later, after statements, medics, and chaos, the Kings were escorted home. Officers surrounded the building. SWAT vans waited on standby. Street lights flickered in the quiet night. Darius walked the kids up the stairs. Ari clung to his hand. Malik kept looking behind them. Renee followed, silent but alert. When they reached the apartment door, Darius reached for his keys and froze. There, taped neatly to the door, was an envelope. Plain white. No stamp. No writing. Just a symbol on the front. A blue circle. The same color as the tracker. Renee drew her gun instantly. "Don't touch it." But Malik whispered, voice trembling, "Dad, that looks like the symbol on the man's jacket who grabbed us." Darius felt everything inside him break. Renee carefully pulled the envelope off the door with gloves. She opened it. Her breath stopped. Inside was a single photograph. A picture of Darius, taken that morning, while he was inside the police station. Renee's voice dropped to a whisper. "Darius, they're already inside our perimeter." Darius grabbed his kids and pulled them close. In the photograph, written in neat handwriting beneath his picture, were 4 words. "Phase 2 has begun." The screen faded. Silence swallowed the hallway. This time, no sirens came.